about to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang!
Sharkos, or megalodonts, are known as the early game terrors that reside in Deepwoken. I still remember myself as a freshie years ago encountering a megalodon and accepting my fate as he kicked me into the stratosphere. Eventually I learned to fight them, and now I could get jumped by 1,000 megalodons and beat them blindfolded while playing through Braille somehow. Once you beat a Sharko, you'll probably never lose a fair fight to them again. But have you ever stopped to consider just what a Sharko is? I bet you haven't. Well, I have. And today, we're going to take a deep dive into the biology of a Sharko and shed some light on the anatomy behind the ultra freshy stomper itself. I humbly ask that you subscribe before we get into this video. We actually just hit 300 subscribers. Thank you very much. It's kind of insane that I woke up and some of my videos have 10k views now. That's like insane. I'm planning to drop a special video for 1,000 subscribers, and to be honest, we're rocketing there, so thank you so much. Right, so it's pretty obvious that the Sharko is modeled after, well, a shark. That's where it gets its nickname from. We can actually trace the name Megalodon back to the Megalodon of ancient times, a gigantic shark that lived up to 23 million years ago. The Megalodon itself has 120 teeth, 30 on the upper front, 30 on the lower front, 30 on the lower back, and 30 on the upper back of their mouth. This gently suggests that they're carnivorous in nature, just like the sharks we have in reality. Another thing that gently suggests this is the event that can naturally spawn in Lower Eurasia, wherein a Sharko devours the corpse of an authority soldier. Just a hunch, they might like meat, guys, I don't know. Anywho, Sharkos also have at the very least a respectable amount of intelligence, as they're able to extinguish flames that afflict themselves in-game, unlike the Thresher, which lets you saute it like a well-done steak as it blinks at you. Now that we've learned a little more about the nature of a Sharko, let's dive into a journal that can be found in-game that rapidly expands on the biology and behavior of Sharkos in the wild. This is the Archivist Journal, Megalodon. Winter, 521 CE. Subject C hasn't moved within his enclosure all day. He's resting on the ground, staring intently at the glass surrounding him for no discernible reason to us. Even for evening supper, he's yet to move an inch. It's quite the blight, as the body stench has accumulated more over time. He just stares, unmoving. This came as quite a shock to Faris and I, as Subject C usually becomes frenzied when brought near a corpse, yet nothing. Late into the night, Subject A rose from a slumber and released a deafening screech, waking every living being in the facility with ease. The shaking floor somehow stirred even Subject C to an upright position, looking attentively towards the Alpha. Throughout our week studying, the relationship between an alpha megalodon and a subordinate megalodon has brought many interesting questions into our hands. While not appearing to be reasonably intelligent creatures, they do have a strong sense of social hierarchy and their place in their society, if it can be called that. Subordinate megalodons tend to pay close attention to the alpha of the territory for reasons we can't understand. Subject A has expressed the impressive ability to bring a creature as lazy as Subject C to his feet, a feat insurmountable to us mega scholars. As it's been a notably long time since Subject C has eaten, he finally began to motion towards his now hours-old dinner, yet Subject A had seemed to deny this, taking the meal for herself. Astounding, isn't it? Faris wouldn't even believe me if I told him twice. Once the excitement died down, I returned to slumber. Today, the realization has hit that we lack additional food for our dear subjects. Last night's meal for Subject C was the last body on hand. Unfortunately, it's winter. Pathfinders tend to be shaky during this time of year. It's more difficult to find gullible, bright-eyed, hopeful ones. During last winter, we prepared a surplus of bodies in preparation for this. This winter, however, we became careless. Too much time spent on experimentation and studying, of course. But I don't want to end my studies here, and a megalodon's appetite is marvelous. I'll contemplate my options. I'm determined to see these experiments through to the end. I'm writing once more, only a few hours past my previous entry. I prepared a new meal for my subjects. I still need to watch myself first, as I don't want the smell of blood luring them towards myself instead of their meal. Despite this being all I can provide for now, I'm happy to say it will at least satisfy Subject A. She's my primary research target at the moment, after all. Surely her subordinates will understand. And if not, I've seen beautifully gruesome combat between megalodons, almost akin to mankind's scuffles. Truly a fascinating spectacle to witness. I fed the last of my food supply to Subject A, dropping the body into the enclosure. As she did last night, she consumed it happily as the other two subjects watched. I used this opportunity to gain the best look I possibly could muster at the coarse coral along her back, a beautiful natural weapon, capable of slaughtering hundreds of pathfinders within mere moments. Its ability to launch almost needle-like projectiles at such high speeds is beautifully lethal. It mainly occurs when the megalodon is under high stress as a last-ditch defense mechanism. I fear I may have stared too long though, as the other subordinates seemed more interested in me than ever before. I made sure to engage in a swift exit. There's something marvelous about these creatures, some sort of almost mankind-like understanding between each other, and yet to us they're simply considered monsters. You all fail to see its social prowess, without not even a consideration of the possibilities. What if we were able to exploit this hierarchy for our own purpose? For my own purpose. For your own purpose. Okay, so my poor reading voice aside, it's blindingly obvious that whoever wrote this note isn't very nice. This archivist was luring in and killing hapless travelers who were simply on their own journeys, minding their own business. However, their fascination with Sharkos unearths the truth behind their behavioral patterns. Instead of mindless creatures that prioritize feeding themselves like animals of lesser intelligence, they adhere to and respect a complex social structure. Alpha megalodons stand as just that, alphas. Normal Sharkos regard their own urges and wholly obey their alpha, shown as when the alpha mentioned in the archivist's journal is able to eat another Sharko's food without resistance from the Sharko it stole from. With this information, we can deduce that megalodons move and exist in packs, unlike what we see in-game. It can also be assumed that the Viper's Jaw, dubbed Sharko Cave by the fans, are the primary settling ground for megalodons in canon. Alpha megalodons are born by either genetic mutation or from a specific bloodline, and thus have command over other megalodons, controlling their pack. We're not stopping here either. Think to yourself, where can we see this behavior reflected in animals here in the real world? Wolf packs. No, I'm not joking. The prevailing view on grey wolves for a large period of time was that they existed within a system of dominance hierarchy, wherein an alpha wolf would fight for dominance within their pack and assume command. The other wolves would hence be designated as beta and omega wolves. No, there's no such thing as a sigma wolf. I looked. Don't ask. While this is eventually disproved by researchers, I believe that this trope of wolf packs still applies to the megalodon. In addition, there's the example of crimson megalodons, megalodons that are affected by the events of Layer 3 and mutated beyond recognition. Thus, they're exiled from their pack, serving as outcasts outside the hierarchy of command. This also suggests that megalodons operate within a strict hierarchy. There's one more piece of evidence that I've neglected to mention thus far, and one that's rivetingly described by this archivist in, well, probably too much detail. The holes on a megalodon's back that shoot needles at insane speed. While there obviously aren't any animals in Earth's animal kingdom that shoot poisonous needles at their enemies, we do have some similar examples. Ironically, these poisonous spines can be found within lionfish, not to be confused with Deepwoken's interpretation of a lionfish. Lionfish's bodies are lined with poisonous spikes that will either kill or incapacitate predators attempting to eat them. It can be assumed that megalodons assumed this trait but reverse engineered the spines to act as projectile weaponry. So, where does that leave us? Megalodons have the, while mutated, bodies and genetics of sharks, with the spines of lionfish, but also the behavioral traits of wolves. Something's not adding up. How is this possible? We know normal animals exist or existed within Deepwoken due to the existence of omelets, urchin, and squid. So why are only specific animals alive? Because the developers wanted it to be that way? Yeah, but I also believe there's more to it. In a generally known event dubbed The Rumbling, where an Agamatsu stat pad had 200,000 views, and I personally witnessed horrors beyond my own comprehension, a glitch allowed Sharko bait to spawn infinite Sharkos that were set loose upon the world. But there's a nugget of lore here. You can fish Sharkos out the water, and I bet they don't just grow in your standard pond. Sharkos can also be witnessed in the depths. I mean, there's only one conclusion here. It's the opposite. Wolves were likely native to Celtor. When Celtor drowned, wolf DNA fused with whatever the shark and lionfish DNA that already existed in the depths, hence creating Sharkos. These Sharkos then arose out of the water like we see in Game, and then populating the world of Deepwoken like an invasive species, infected everywhere, including Etria. So what are the Sharkos? A shark, lionfish, and wolf hybrid. Hell, there could be some bear in there too, based on the body type. They're an amalgamation of genetics created by the depths that have now grown like a fungus across the world of Deepwoken. Does that mean that the Sharko and the lionfish in-game are biologically related and probably see each other at Christmas family dinner? Yes. No, I will not elaborate. I'm easing back into making videos after a very stressful period in my life. Thank you for supporting me, it's very much appreciated. I could make this about more mobs in Deepwoken if you guys want. I don't know if I'd have as much information as I do with the Sharkos, but hey, I could try it. Thank you, and until next time.